Usher. You know the woman who came forward, Quantasia Sharpton, she came forward at a news conference with Lisa Bloom saying that she slept with Usher after a concert and that he exposed her to genital herpes without ever telling her that he had it, allegedly, and she doesn't have it, but she's suing. We did some digging, and we did find out, at least her contention is, that she saw him in Atlantic City at the concert, and she has proof of it, and that she was staying at a Days Inn. Well, we have been contacted by somebody who says that they worked at the Days Inn. They have a story, at least on the surface, that backs up hers.
Exactly, and what this former employee is saying, Harvey, or this employee at the time is saying, is that what happened was that Quantasia was staying at the Days Inn, which was less than a mile from the venue that Usher performed November 15th, 2014. She claims Usher came, Quantasia met him in the lobby of the hotel, and they went upstairs. And that she wanted a picture of Usher, and even asked him as he walked in. He said, "I'll do it on the way out." She says she waited an hour. Correct. This is the employee asked Usher for a picture. She said she waited at least an hour. He never came down, so she kind of gave up.
Now, that's a pretty specific story. That's a lot of detail.
It is a specific story, but Brad, you will agree that that story is still not the be-all and end-all. That you know,
exactly.
People are saying all sorts of things in this case, and we've talked to Usher's people. They don't want to comment on this one, and I'm not sure they know for sure either. But here's the deal: we're not going to vouch for the story, but we just know somebody is coming forward, you know, as a hotel employee making the claim. So
about an incident that happened about 3 years ago.
It happened about 3 years ago, but we do know that she was at the concert because she posted a picture of herself and August Alsina, and the picture shows her in a birthday tiara, which does check out because at the news conference she said this was shortly after her birthday, and indeed it was 2 weeks after her birthday. So all of that's checking out, and she may have stayed at the Days Inn. The question is, did Usher go there? Therein lies the question.
And I'm sure it's probably curious to a lot of people as to why Usher would go to a Days Inn.
Now, I want to get into this whole thing because everybody's talking about genital herpes and whether there's a duty.
Herpes mania out there.
Well, Dr. Drew, who is a fabulous guy and a really knowledgeable guy, he was on a couple of shows in the last couple of days, and I heard about the shows. I didn't hear them, but he has a very interesting take on herpes, what somebody's obligation should be, and how serious the disease is. So Dr. Drew joins us right now. Drew, welcome again to TMZ Live.
Hey guys, Harvey, Kelly.
How's it going?
So the short story of what I got was that you think people are overblowing the seriousness of herpes. Is that correct?
Some of what I said. What I said was, what many people may not be aware is that when I got back involved in radio in the early 80s, one of the things that motivated me was trying to get people to understand that there was a real serious sexually transmitted disease, we now call it AIDS, and people were so preoccupied with this skin rash that really doesn't harm anybody. It's unpleasant, but it's highly stigmatized. And so now, on the heels of this Usher suit, I actually interviewed Lisa Bloom, the attorney that is executing this lawsuit. And I said, Lisa, there she is. What's the end game here? Where are we going? I mean, yes, we have an ethical duty to inform people about this and any potential STD exposure. And we now have a legal obligation that most people are aware of. But my question was, let's say Usher had told her, and let's even say they went into a long-term relationship after he'd informed her. They break up. She's PO'd. She goes, he never told me. It's his word against his. Lisa, what's the end game here? Do we have to have LegalZoom create a template document that we can download? And before anybody has sexual contact, you have to have this informed consent where you've discussed the risks and benefits. And somebody, it's actually signed the document. She said, well, yes. And a lot of celebrities already do something like that.
Well, but look, you can make the same argument about HIV that, somebody can get PO'd at the end and say, I didn't know when they didn't know. So that argument kind of works for everything. What I found interesting about what you said is that you're saying that herpes is not all that it's cracked up to be, that in some ways there's less there than meets the eye, and you're calling it a rash and not a disease.
Well, it's a disease, it's an infectious disease, and it's a rash. human papillomavirus and the cancer it causes is a much more serious deal. I'm not saying herpes are nothing. I'm not saying that. I'm saying for some people, it's unpleasant, it's uncomfortable, it has issues around pregnancy. But the bigger issue is the stigma, to the point where we've actually gotten some letters on this where people have been saying, I know K-Rock, they got a letter from a woman saying, look, I counsel people when they're initially diagnosed and they become suicidal. Not because they're in distress, not because they're having any medical consequences.
But because of the way society,
because everybody sees it as dirty, unclean.
The stigma, and they feel like no one will ever love me. I'll never have a relationship again. I'm going to kill myself.
So what's your solution? You're the president of the United States, and you can do something about this. What's your solution? You're requiring consent, not requiring consent?
Do you think formal paperwork is necessary?
I think we're there. I think that's right. I think we're actually there. I'm not a legal expert. Harvey, I was hoping for the guidance from you on that.
But Drew, should there be? In other words, should somebody have a duty to inform the other person?
Yes, 100%. Oh, of course. Of course the duty's there. The question is, what's the documentation necessary to make sure that you've documented that you have done so? No, the duty is there. The duty is there. It's been clear ethically for a while. It's been clear legally for a while.
Isn't it the onus of the person that's having sex? They should protect themselves. So whether or not you tell me, I should protect myself too. Where's the onus in that?
Well, listen, everybody should be taking that responsibility in terms of their own self-protection. That's a different issue. But listen, condoms, use the antiviral medicine, that reduces the risk dramatically, but it doesn't reduce it 100%. People still can transmit something that is unpleasant. It's unpleasant.
Well, we got to cut to the chase here. I mean, as a practical matter, two people are about to engage in sexual relations. You pull out a document and you seriously think you'll seal the deal that way? I mean, really?
I thankfully, I'm happily married, and I'm not having to even think about such a thing. But that's my question to the lawyers: is that are we really there? Is that where we've arrived as a society where we are so litigious and we're so, as you're saying, Kelly? You know, when this outbreak first occurred, and I was talking about herpes back in the '80s, there was a lot of, well, everyone has personal responsibility, everyone needs to protect themselves. There was very little discussion on this end, which we've gone the pendulum completely to the other direction now.
And the numbers are 1 in 6. That's what I've read, right? 1 in 6 people have genital herpes.
That's a reasonable number, and nearly all of us have some form of the virus, and about 1 out of 6. That's a good number, I'd say, to document how many people have clinically relevant.
Can I ask you a question? Is that 1 out of 6 have genital herpes or herpes generally?
Clinically relevant genital herpes, yes. And
1 out of 6 genital herpes?
I mean, that number, he's saying it sounds right.
That's a number that's about right. That's how common it is. It's become exceedingly common. And people don't take into account oral genital transmission, which is also extremely common. And for some reason, that's not stigmatized. For some reason, people don't worry so much about that.
Well, wait a minute. But then you're saying that non-genital herpes can turn into genital herpes in oral sex.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very common. That's one of the more common ways people...
Medical facts blow this office's mind. Yeah. I love TMZ Medical. It blows their mind.
Well, I should make a visit there on a regular basis.
well, for treatment, you should make a visit.
Different issue.
Make sure to subscribe to TMZ Live to keep up to date on the latest entertainment news.
And if you want to keep watching, click on one of these videos right now.